The massive alien ship hung in space like a silver whale, its biomechanical hull pulsing with strange lights. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the window of Earth's orbital station, watching the Xanthari vessel with careful eyes. 3 months had passed since first contact, and today would decide humanity's future. "They're coming aboard now, sir," Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez reported from behind him. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the tension underneath. Everyone knew what this meeting meant. Jake turned from the window and straightened his uniform. The Earth Defense Force had chosen him to lead this negotiation, and he wouldn't let his species down. "Tell Admiral Carter we're ready." The station's main conference room buzzed with quiet activity. Admiral Lisa Carter sat at the head of the table, her gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. She had fought in 3 wars and never lost a battle. Today, she looked like she was preparing for the fight of her life. "Remember," she said to the assembled officers, "we show them what they expect to see. Nothing more, nothing less." The doors slid open with a soft hiss. The Xanthari delegation entered the room, and Jake had to force himself not to stare. They looked like dolphins that had learned to walk on 2 legs. Their skin was smooth and gray, with technological implants covering their heads and arms. The leader wore what looked like a crown made of living coral. "I am Admiral Corvex," the alien said through a small device on his chest. His voice sounded like water flowing over rocks. "We represent the Xanthari Empire. You are the humans who claim to rule this water world." Jake stepped forward. "I'm Captain Morrison. Welcome to Earth." Corvex's large black eyes studied Jake for a moment. Then he made a sound that the translator turned into laughter. "Captain? You send a mere captain to speak with an admiral? This shows us how little you understand about proper warfare." Admiral Carter stood up slowly. "I am Admiral Carter, commander of Earth's naval forces. I lead this delegation." "Better," Corvex said, but his tone still carried amusement. "Now let us discuss why we are here. Your planet is mostly water. Water is the domain of the Xanthari Empire. You will surrender your oceans to us, or we will take them by force." Jake felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his expression neutral. "Our oceans are not for sale or surrender. Earth is humanity's home." "Home?" Another Xanthari stepped forward. This one was smaller, with blue markings on his skin. "You barely use your oceans. We have studied your world for months. You fight in the void of space with primitive metal ships. You know nothing of true naval warfare." The small alien activated. A holographic display above the table. Images of Earth's space fleet appeared, rotating slowly. Jake recognized the ships, the EDS Horizon, the Terra Nova, the New Hope. Good ships, but the Xanthari were right about one thing. In space, they looked small and old compared to alien technology. "These are toys," Corvex said, his voice dripping with contempt. "Metal shells with chemical rockets. Our bioships are grown, not built. They heal their own wounds and adapt to any environment. We have conquered 47 star systems with fleets like this." Commander Ryan Blake, who had been silent until now, leaned forward. "Our ships have served us well. They've protected Earth for decades." "Protected Earth from what?" the blue-marked alien asked. "Pirates? Asteroids? You have never faced a real enemy. You have never fought a species that was born in the depths of space, that learned warfare in the crushing dark between stars." Jake watched Admiral Carter's face. She showed no emotion, but he knew her well enough to see the tiny muscle that twitched in her jaw. She was angry, but she was also calculating. Every insult, every display of alien arrogance was being filed away for later use. "Your surface ships are even more pathetic," Corvex continued. The hologram changed to show Earth's naval vessels. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, Submarines. The pride of human engineering looked like toys next to the massive alien warships. Floating metal boxes with explosive projectiles. Do you even understand what naval warfare means? We understand enough, Admiral Carter said quietly. No, you do not. Korvax's voice grew colder. Naval warfare is about controlling water. Water is life. Water is power. Your species lives on the surface like insects, never understanding the true depths of your own world. You have oceans deeper than our homeworld's canyons, yet you barely explore them. The alien was right, Jake thought. Most of Earth's oceans remained unexplored. The deepest trenches, the thermal vents, the vast underwater plains, humanity had mapped less than 20% of their own ocean floors. We have bases in your deepest trenches already, the blue-marked alien said. Your sensors cannot even detect us. We could destroy your coastal cities before you knew we were there. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The aliens had been preparing for invasion while pretending to negotiate. But Admiral Carter just nodded as if she had expected this. You have 1 month, Korvax announced. Surrender your oceans and serve the Zentari Empire as a tributary world. Your people will be allowed to keep your land masses and your space toys. But the seas belong to us now. And if we refuse? Jake asked. Then we will take them anyway, Korvax said. But many of your people will die in the process. Your coastal cities will be destroyed. Your surface fleets will be crushed. Your species will learn what happens when drylanders challenge the masters of the deep. The hologram showed images of other worlds the Zenthari had conquered. Burning cities, broken ships, populations fleeing inland as alien forces emerged from the seas. It was a message clear enough for anyone to understand. We need time to consider your offer, Admiral Carter said. 1 month, Korvax repeated. We are being generous. Most species receive only days to surrender, but you amuse us. A race that builds metal ships to fight in the void, trying to challenge aquatic warriors. It is almost entertaining. The Zenthari. Delegation left the conference room, their laughter echoing in the corridors. Jake waited until the doors closed before speaking. They're not taking us seriously, he said. Good, Admiral Carter replied. She touched a small device on her wrist. Operation Deep Blue is now active. Send word to all underwater facilities. The Poseidon Protocol is in effect. Jake frowned. Underwater facilities? Admiral, what aren't you telling me? Lisa Carter smiled for the first time since the meeting. Began. Captain, those aliens think they know everything about Earth's oceans. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Outside the station, the Zenthari ship began to move toward Earth. Its biomechanical hull pulsed with confident energy as it prepared to establish forward bases in the deepest parts of human oceans. The aliens had no idea what was waiting for them in the depths. 2 weeks had passed since the Zenthari gave their ultimatum. The alien ships moved through Earth's oceans like hungry sharks, mapping the ocean floor and setting up their forward bases. They worked in the deepest trenches, believing no human technology could reach them there. They were wrong. Dr. Kevin Park sat in his laboratory 7 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean, watching the alien movements on his screens. The Mariana Research Station had been built in secret 30 years ago, hidden in the deepest part of Earth's oceans. The Zenthari scouts passed right over it, never knowing that human eyes were watching their every move. They're setting up another base in the Puerto Rico Trench, Kevin reported into his communicator. Same pattern as the others. They think they're invisible down here. The voice that answered him belonged to Commander Ryan Blake, speaking from a location that officially did not exist. Copy that, Dr. Park. How many does that make? 12 forward bases so far, Kevin replied. They're being predictable. They always choose the deepest spots, thinking we can't reach them. Blake's laugh was quiet, but satisfied. If they only knew what we've been building down there for the past 50 years. Kevin switched to another screen that showed a map of the Pacific. Ocean floor. Red dots marked the Xanthari bases, but blue dots marked something else entirely. Human installations that went deeper than any alien scout had bothered to look. Research stations, manufacturing facilities, and things that the surface world had never been told about. The thermal vents near their Base 7 are showing unusual activity, Kevin continued. Should I investigate? Negative. Stay hidden for now. We're not ready to show our hand yet. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic Ocean, Captain Amy Rodriguez guided her submarine through the midnight waters. The Hughes Kraken moved silently through the deep, its advanced hull designed to avoid detection. The Xanthari had superior technology, but they had never learned to fight in the crushing depths of an ocean world. Sonar contact, her navigation officer reported. Xanthari scout ship, bearing 270. Amy studied the readings on her screen. The alien vessel was sleek and organic-looking, its biomechanical hull pulsing with soft light. It moved through the water like a living thing, which it partly was. But it also moved predictably, following patterns that human observers had been studying for weeks. They're heading for the Hatteras Abyssal Plain, Amy said. Probably planning another base. Should we intercept? Her weapons officer asked. No, let them go, but tag them with a tracer. Command wants to know where every alien ship is when the time comes. A small device shot out from the Kraken's hull, too small for the aliens to detect. It attached itself to the Xanthari ship's hull and began transmitting location data. The aliens continued on their way, never knowing they were being tracked. Deep beneath the Arctic ice, Captain Ben Harris commanded the UES Leviathan from the hidden base at North Pole Station. The facility had been built inside an underwater mountain, invisible to surface scans and deep enough to avoid detection. For 20 years, it had served as a testing ground for humanity's most advanced underwater technology. The aliens are getting cocky, Ben reported to his superiors. They're not even trying to hide their movements anymore. Good, came the reply from Admiral Carter. Overconfidence is a weakness we can exploit. Ben looked out through the station's observation window at the workshop bays below. Submarines unlike anything the world had ever seen were being prepared for launch. The Xanthari thought human technology was primitive, but they had never seen what humanity could build when they really tried. How many ships are ready for deployment? Admiral Carter asked. 47 in this sector alone, Ben replied. The Pacific and Atlantic fleets report similar numbers. We've been building these for decades, Admiral. The aliens have no idea what they're facing. On the surface, the world's governments played their parts perfectly. They held emergency meetings, made desperate pleas for peace, and showed exactly the kind of fear and confusion the Xanthari expected. News reports spoke of humanity's helplessness against the alien threat. Military analysts on television explained why Earth's forces had no chance against superior alien technology. But underneath it all, a different kind of preparation was taking place. Dr. Lisa Murphy worked in the underwater research facility known as Pacific Deep. The station clung to the side of an underwater cliff, hidden by thermal vents and volcanic activity. For 15 years, she had been studying ways to use the ocean itself as a weapon. The pressure differential generators are ready, she reported to her team. We can create underwater earthquakes, massive whirlpools, even redirect deep ocean currents if we need to. Her assistant, Dr. Peter Jones, looked up from his calculations. The aliens' biomechanical ships are designed for space travel. They're not built to handle the extreme pressures and forces we can create down here. Exactly, Lisa smiled. They think they understand water because they evolved in it. But they've never faced an opponent that can control the ocean itself. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Davis coordinated the global defense network from the command center beneath the Mariana Trench. The facility was larger than most cities, built into the ocean floor itself. Hundreds of officers worked around the clock, monitoring alien movements and preparing for the coming battle. "All stations report ready," Sean announced into his communicator. "The Xanthari have no idea we're down here." "Maintain radio silence," Admiral Carter ordered. "We stick to the plan. Let them think they're winning until the moment we strike." The Xanthari continued their preparations, growing more confident each day. Their scouts reported that human surface fleets were moving nervously around the globe, but posed no real threat. The aliens began to believe their own propaganda about human weakness. Admiral Korvex himself toured the new bases, pleased with his force's progress. The humans had made no aggressive moves, sent no ships to challenge Xanthari expansion. It was exactly what he had expected from a species that fought with primitive metal ships. "The humans are cowards," he told his subordinates. "They will surrender without a fight when they see our full strength." But in the deepest parts of Earth's oceans, humanity was preparing for war. Ships that had never seen sunlight were being loaded with weapons the aliens had never imagined. Soldiers who had trained in the crushing depths for years were taking their positions. The Xanthari had made one critical mistake. They assumed that because humanity explored space, they had abandoned the oceans. They thought that because human surface ships looked primitive, human underwater technology was equally. Backward. Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command center of the EDS Horizon, reading reports from the hidden ocean bases. Each report told the same story. Humanity was ready. The aliens had walked into a trap that had been decades in the making. "Admiral Carter," Jake said into his secure communicator, "the Xanthari are in position. All their forward bases are established. They think they control our oceans now." "Perfect," Admiral Carter replied. "It's time to show them what humanity's real navy looks like." The countdown to revelation had begun. The moment of truth arrived on a Tuesday morning. Admiral Korvex stood in the command center of his flagship, watching as his invasion fleet prepared for the final assault. Hundreds of biomechanical ships had emerged from the deep ocean bases, their living hulls gleaming in the pale sunlight. The humans had been silent for days, and Korvex believed they had already given up. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "Target the coastal cities first. Show these dry landers what happens when they refuse the Xanthari Empire." The alien fleet moved forward like a living wave, their ships breaking the surface of the Pacific Ocean in perfect formation. Korvex smiled as he watched human aircraft scramble from their carriers, tiny metal insects against his mighty armada. This would be over quickly, and the ocean floor exploded. What Korvex had thought was empty seabed suddenly erupted with activity. Massive structures rose from the depths, breaking through the water like mountains coming to life. The first was the size of a small city, covered in weapons and gleaming with human technology. Then another appeared, and another, until the ocean was filled with rising giants. "What is this?" Korvex shouted as his sensors screamed warnings. Where did these come from? His communications officer, a young Xanthari with silver markings, stared at the readings in shock. "Admiral, these structures have been there all along. They were hidden beneath the ocean floor. Our scouts never detected them." The largest structure identified itself as New Angeles Deep, an underwater city that had been built in secret over 30 years. Its commander, Captain Amy Rodriguez, spoke through the communications array with calm authority. "Xanthari Fleet, this is Captain Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. You are in violation of human territorial waters. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Korvex's laughter filled the command center. "Consequences? You hide in the mud like bottom feeders and think you can threaten us?" Attack those structures. Show them the power of the Xanthari Empire. But as his bioships moved to attack, something impossible happened. The ocean itself began to fight back. Captain Ben Harris watched from the command center of the UES Leviathan as his submarine rose from the depths. The ship was 3 times larger than any vessel the aliens had seen, its black hull bristling with weapons that had never been tested in real combat. Around him, dozens of other submarines surfaced, each one a masterpiece of human engineering. All units, this is Leviathan Actual, Ben spoke into his communicator. Execute Operation Deep Strike. Show these aliens what human naval power really looks like. The first shots came from weapons the Xanthari had never imagined. Electromagnetic pulse torpedoes designed specifically to disrupt biomechanical systems. The alien ships, so proud of their living hulls, suddenly found themselves helpless as their organic components shut down. Ships that had conquered star systems began to sink like dead whales. Impossible. Korvax screamed as his own flagship shuddered from multiple impacts. How do they have weapons that can affect our bioships? Dr. Kevin Park, speaking from the Mariana Research Station, provided the answer through intercepted communications. We've been studying your technology for months. Every scout ship you sent, every base you built, we watched and learned. Your biomechanical systems are impressive, but they have weaknesses, and we found them all. The battle spread across the entire Pacific Ocean. What the aliens thought would be a simple conquest became a nightmare of human ingenuity. Submarines appeared from impossible depths, their crews trained for years in deep ocean warfare. The Xanthari had superior technology, but they had never fought an enemy that could use the ocean itself as a weapon. Commander, Lisa Murphy activated the pressure differential generators from Pacific Deep. The ocean around the alien fleet began to move in ways that defied nature. Massive whirlpools opened beneath bioships, while crushing pressure waves cracked their organic hulls. The aliens found themselves fighting not just human ships, but the very water around them. Our ships are being crushed, reported one of Korvax's captains. The pressure changes are tearing our hulls apart. How is this possible? Because you never learned to fight in a real ocean. Captain Amy Rodriguez replied as her submarine, the U.S. Kraken, emerged beside the alien flagship. You evolved in shallow seas and learned to fight in the void of space. But Earth's oceans are different. They're deeper, more violent, and more alive than anything you've ever faced. The human fleet that revealed itself was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships that could dive to the deepest trenches and surface in seconds. Submarines that could create their own underwater storms. Vessels that used the ocean's thermal vents as weapons, turning superheated water into devastating attacks. Lieutenant Colonel Sean Davis coordinated the global assault from the Mariana Command Center. His screens showed battles raging in every ocean on Earth. The Atlantic Fleet, led by Captain Nicole Torres, was destroying alien forward bases with precision strikes. The Arctic Squadron was using ice and freezing water to disable bioships designed for warmer climates. All fleets report successful engagement, Sean announced. The aliens are in full retreat in every sector. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. As the battle raged, massive shipyards began to rise from the ocean floor. Facilities that had been building humanity's secret fleet for decades revealed themselves to the world. The Xanthari watched in horror as new human ships launched from underwater bays, ready to join the fight. How long? Korvax demanded, his voice filled with rage and disbelief. How long have you been preparing for this? Admiral Lisa Carter answered from the command center of the U's Poseidon, a submarine so large it was classified as a mobile base. 50 years, Admiral Korvax. While you were conquering star systems, we were mastering our own oceans. While you were building ships for space. We were building ships for the depths. You made the mistake of thinking that because we reached for the stars, we forgot about the sea." The alien admiral stared at the tactical display showing his fleet's destruction. Ships that had never lost a battle were being systematically destroyed by enemies that fought like the ocean itself. His biomechanical vessels, so effective in space combat, were helpless against weapons designed specifically for underwater warfare. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No species has ever defeated the Centauri Empire in naval combat. No species has ever fought you in their own oceans," Carter replied. "You're not the masters of the deep, Corvex. You're visitors in our domain. And you're not welcome here." The battle was turning into a complete rout. Human submarines appeared from depths the aliens thought were impossible to reach. Underwater cities revealed weapon systems that had been hidden for generations. The ocean itself seemed to be fighting against the invaders, creating currents and pressure waves that no bioship could survive. As his flagship began to sink, Admiral Corvex realized the terrible truth. The humans had never been helpless. They had been preparing, learning, and building in the one place the Centauri had never thought to look seriously. The deepest parts of an alien ocean. The invasion was over. The real war was just beginning. The battle for Earth's oceans was over in 6 hours. Admiral Corvex's mighty invasion fleet lay scattered across the ocean floor, their biomechanical hulls crushed by pressures they were never designed to handle. The few surviving alien ships fled toward the edge of the solar system, carrying news of their defeat to the Centauri Empire. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Poseidon as it surfaced for the first time in decades. The massive submarine broke through the waves like a breaching whale, its black hull gleaming in the sunlight. Around him, hundreds of other human vessels surfaced, revealing the true size of Earth's hidden fleet. Signal from Admiral Carter. His communications officer reported. "She wants to speak with the Centauri survivors." Jake nodded. The time for secrets was over. The world needed to know what humanity had been building in the depths of its oceans. More importantly, the galaxy needed to understand that Earth was no longer a helpless target. Admiral Corvex sat in the damaged command center of his flagship, the biomechanical walls around him flickering with dying light. His proud fleet was gone, destroyed by enemies he had dismissed as primitive. The shame burned worse than his physical injuries. "Incoming transmission from the humans," his communications officer reported, her voice barely above a whisper. The screen activated, showing Admiral Lisa Carter standing in what was clearly an underwater command center. Behind her, officers worked at stations that displayed the positions of human ships across all of Earth's oceans. The technology was advanced beyond anything the Centauri had imagined possible. "Admiral Corvex," Carter said, her voice calm and professional, "I am offering you safe passage out of our solar system. Take your remaining ships and go. Tell your empire what you learned here today." Corvex stared at the human admiral, trying to understand how everything had gone so wrong. "How?" he asked. "How did you hide all of this from us?" "Because you saw what you expected to see," Carter replied. "You looked at our surface ships and assumed that was all we had. You explored our shallow waters and thought you understood our oceans. But you never looked deep enough." The screen split to show images from across Earth's oceans. Underwater cities that had been hidden for decades. Submarine shipyards that had built thousands of vessels in secret. Research stations that had developed weapons specifically designed to fight biomechanical ships. The scale of humanity's ocean-based civilization was staggering. 50 years ago, we realized that Earth's greatest strength was also its greatest vulnerability, Carter continued. "We are a water world. Any enemy that controlled our oceans could control our planet. So we decided to make sure that would never happen. Dr. Kevin Park appeared on another part of the screen, speaking from the Mariana Research Station. While you were conquering star systems, we were learning to live in the deepest parts of our own world. We built cities in places where the pressure would crush your ships. We developed technology that works in environments you can't survive. Captain Amy Rodriguez joined the transmission from the UES Kraken. Every time you sent a scout ship, we watched and learned. Every base you built, we studied your technology. You taught us how to fight you without even knowing it. Corvex felt the weight of complete defeat settling on his shoulders. Your surface world showed fear. Your governments pleaded for peace. How did they not know? Some of them didn't know, Carter admitted, but the ones who mattered did. We've been preparing for this day since before you ever heard of Earth. The ocean cities, the submarine fleets, the weapon systems, all of it was built in secret, waiting for the day when someone would try to take our oceans from us. The transmission switched to show the battle's aftermath. Zenthari bioships were being pulled from the ocean floor by human salvage vessels. The organic hulls that had once seemed so powerful now looked fragile and broken. Human submarines moved through the water like schools of metal fish, their crews, celebrating their victory. We studied your biomechanical technology, Dr. Lisa Murphy said, joining the call from Pacific Deep. It's impressive for space warfare, but it has weaknesses underwater. The pressure affects your organic components differently than metal hulls. Your ships heal themselves, but they can't adapt fast enough to the crushing depths of our oceans. Lieutenant, Colonel Sean Davis appeared on the screen next, speaking from the Global Command Center. We tracked every ship in your fleet. We knew where you were going before you got there. You thought you were invisible in the deep ocean, but we've been watching the ocean floor for decades. Captain Ben Harris spoke from the UES Leviathan as it patrolled the wreckage of the alien fleet. Your biggest mistake was thinking that because we built ships for space, we forgot about the sea. Earth is 70% water. We never forgot that. We just learned to use it better. The scope of humanity's deception was becoming clear to Corvex. While his empire had been studying Earth's visible defenses, humanity had been building a completely separate civilization beneath the waves. They had turned their oceans into the ultimate defensive weapon. What happens now? Corvex asked, his voice hollow with defeat. Now you go home, Carter replied. You tell your empire that Earth's oceans are protected. You tell them that humanity is not as helpless as they thought. And you tell them that any species that threatens our water world will face the same fate as your fleet. The transmission ended, leaving Corvex alone with the ruins of his ambition. His remaining ships began their journey home, carrying the news of humanity's hidden strength to the Zenthari Empire. The species that had ruled the galaxy's oceans for centuries had been defeated by a race they had dismissed as primitive. 3 months later, Captain Jake Morrison stood before the United Nations General Assembly, no longer hiding the truth about Earth's oceanic defenses. The world watched in amazement as he revealed the scale of humanity's underwater civilization. Cities that had existed in secret for decades. Fleets that had been built in the deepest trenches. Technologies that had been developed far from prying eyes. The age of humanity hiding in the shallows is over, he announced to the assembled delegates. Earth's oceans are the most heavily defended waters in the galaxy. Any species that wishes to threaten our world will face the combined might of our ocean fleet. The news spread quickly through the galaxy. Species that had considered Earth a minor planet suddenly viewed it as a major naval power. The Zenthari Empire, humbled by their defeat, began seeking diplomatic relations rather than conquest. Other aquatic species requested Earth's protection for their own water worlds. Admiral Carter stood in the command center of New Angeles Deep, watching reports from across the galaxy. Human naval bases were being established on ocean worlds throughout. Local space. The species that had once mocked humanity's oceanic focus now sought their alliance and protection. "What are your orders, Admiral?" Captain Rodriguez asked. Carter smiled as she looked at the tactical display showing human ships, spread across a dozen star systems. "We do what we've always done, Captain. We protect the oceans. All of them." The laughter had stopped. The galaxy's newest naval power had risen from the depths.